everybody, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Criterion, and we feature two releases coming to the UK collection on this particular edition. The year is 1921, and British comedy actor and director Charles Chaplin is embarking on making The Kid, one of the 9 films he made with his production company First National before United Artists. He is once again taking the all too familiar character mantle of the tramp, but this time the other protagonist in the film is a child actor called Jackie Coogan, playing the Kid. Now, Chaplin had featured Jackie Coogan in A Day's Pleasure in 1919, and Jackie literally stole the show in The Kid. Many of Chaplin's admirers regard The Kid as his most perfect and his most personal film. Yet it seems to have been born out of a state of acute emotional turmoil in his private life at the time. In October 1918, Chaplin had compromised himself into a hasty marriage with a 17-year-old actress, Mildred Harris. Now, the couple had very little in common, and Chaplin's personal boredom and frustration resulted in him getting an acute creative block. The Kid is perhaps Chaplin's most potent marriage of comedy and high emotion. The story relates how an unmarried mother abandons her baby, which is found and unwillingly adopted by the tramp. And as the child matures to age 5 or 6, the two form a profitable business partnership together. The boy goes around breaking windows, and his friend follows behind, earning an honest living by mending them again. The tramp ferociously opposes the efforts of social workers to take the boy into public care, and finally he's reunited with his mother, who's become a successful opera singer. Now, the emotional element of the film reaches a peak of poignancy in the scenes, of course, where the social workers try to take the boy away to an orphanage. The anguish and ferocity of the tramp's fight to keep him are unquestionably inspired by memories of Chaplin's own childhood heartbreak at being taken from his own mother at age 7 and placed in a home for destitute children. Now, by the time shooting had ended, Chaplin's now irretrievably estranged wife Mildred had begun a suit for divorce. Terrified that her lawyers would try to seize the Kid, Chaplin and his most faithful associates fled Hollywood. Now, the film was edited in secret in a hotel in Salt Lake City in Utah and in an anonymous studio in New York City. There were further financial problems as well with its distributors. When The Kid was finally released in February 1921, of course, it was an instant hit. Everywhere it was shown, and perhaps it's the greatest triumph of Chaplin's career. The rest of the cast in The Kid consists of Edna Purviance as the woman, that's John's mother, Carl Miller as the man, John's father. And of course, as always, there are lots of uncredited performances. For instance, Tom Wilson as the policeman, Henry Bergman as night shelter keeper, Professor Guido, fat neighbourhood man and apostle, Peter Charles Reisner as neighbourhood bully and angel's lover, and Raymond Lee as Bully's little brother. And Lita Gray features as the flirtatious angel in the brilliant Dreamland scene. Jackie Coogan, at 7, had become a world celebrity, honoured by princes, presidents and the Pope himself when he embarked on a European tour. He enjoyed a brief film career as a child actor, but as Hollywood wits declared, senility's hit him at 13 years of age, and as a young adult he sadly found himself penniless. His mother and stepfather had mismanaged his childhood earnings, and what little money was left was eaten up in legal battles. Now, years later, Jackie Coogan visited Chaplin on the set of Modern Times. Now, there is one good outcome that was certainly taken from this. Jackie's much publicised problems led to the introduction of a law to give financial protection to child actors, and to this day it's called the Coogan Act. In later life, Jackie, once the most beautiful child in the world, achieved very different new fame, of course, as the nastiest of old men, Uncle Fester, in the television series The Addams Family. All this, though, was still hidden in the far-off future back in 1921, when The Kid gave Chaplin the only true co-star of his career, and brought both Chaplin and the child to an unparalleled peak of world fame and affection. Now, The Kid is the latest Chaplin film to join the UK collection, and it contains the following special features. Of course, there's a new 4K digital restoration of Charlie Chaplin's 1972 re-release version of the film, featuring an original score by Chaplin with uncompressed mono soundtrack. New audio commentary featuring Chaplin historian Charles Mayland. Jackie Coogan, the first child star, a new video essay by Chaplin historian Lisa Haven. A study in undercranking, that's a new programme featuring silent film specialist Ben Modell. Interviews with Coogan and the actor Lita Gray Chaplin. Excerpted audio interviews with cinematographer Rolly Totherow and film distributor Mo Rothman. Deleted scenes and titles from the original 1921 version of The Kid. Charlie on the Ocean, a 1921 newsreel documentary featuring Chaplin's first return to Europe. Footage of Chaplin conducting his score for The Kid. Nice and Friendly, a 1922 silent short featuring Chaplin and Coogan and presented with a new score by the composer Timothy Brock. There are trailers and an essay written by the film scholar Tom Gunning, and the cover art for the disc is by F. Ron Miller. Chaplin and Coogan make a miraculous pair in this nimble marriage of sentiment and of slapstick. It's a film that is, as its opening title card states, a picture with a smile and perhaps a tear. And I strongly urge you to check out this release with its generous supplements contained on the Blu-ray disc. The Kid has a running time of only 53 minutes, but every minute's a gem, and it's an Academy ratio, and it comes to UK Criterion collection on Monday the 26th of June as Spine 799. And our second film on this edition is Smooth Talk. Chopra's first fiction feature brought her wide attention, but by the time she made this Sundance Prize winner, she had been working for 2 decades as a documentarian. She had apprenticed with the direct cinema pioneers D.A. Pennebaker and Richard Leacock in the early 60s, learning from them both how to edit and how to use the portable 16mm camera that they helped invent, that revolutionised documentary filmmaking. Her first released film was the short A Happy Mother's Day in 1963, and that was about the Fisher quintuplets of Aberdeen, South Dakota. It was a collaboration with Leacock. Now, regrettably, however, and predicting further obstacles that she would face as a woman filmmaker, Chopra's co-director credit was completely left out of the advertisements for the film. Nevertheless, she persisted, and as the saying goes, with the ambition to make her own films, guiding her as she honed her craft. Now, in this edition of Let's Talk Criterion, we're going to look at her 1985 feature, Smooth Talk. Loosely based on Joyce Carol Oates' short story, Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been, written in 1966, it was in turn inspired by the Tucson murders committed by Charles Smith. Now, the protagonist and main character in the film, Connie Wyatt, is played by Laura Dern. Now, the antagonist, Arnold Friend, is played by Treat Williams. Connie Wyatt is a restless 15-year-old, and she's anxious to explore the pleasures of her sexual awakening. Before she enters her sophomore year in high school, she spends the summer moping around her family farmhouse. She suffers, as many teenagers do, from put-downs from her mother, Catherine, played by Mary Kay Place, while hearing nothing but praise for her older sister, June, played by Elizabeth Berridge. Now, her father, Harry, somehow manages to float around the family tensions. Connie also helps paint the cottage, just as her mother constantly demands her to do. What happens is that a boy, Treat Williams, sees her at the drive-in. He says his name is Arnold Friend and he wants to be her friend. Now, everything about this guy is all wrong. He is nowhere near as good or as young as he says. There is a plan. He has a bad look in his eye. He pals around with another guy. He doesn't say anything, and he doesn't need to, because one look at him and you realise he is missing very important parts. Connie walks around in her shorts and halter top, a bit of a tease, and Arnold watches her. He makes a pass at her and she puts him off with a kind of cute flirtation that work with any other kid. But Arnold just looks straight through her, and a chill wind seems to blow. One Sunday, when Connie's left at home alone and the family is all out of the office, so to speak, Arnold comes to visit. He doesn't physically rape her, but what he does is much worse than that. He talks to her in a way that forever brings an end to her innocence. Now, Laura Dern's performance is outstanding in this film, and she sometimes appears older than her actual age, but many times she appears younger, and somewhat is seduced by this bad boy Arnold. Smooth Talk is not a teenage movie. It's not, despite its plot, a horror film either. It's a study in deviant psychology and in the power that one person can have over another person, especially if one pushes in the direction where the other person is already heading. The movie is almost uncanny in its self-assurance, in the way it knows that the first hour, for instance, where nothing at all is happening, it's necessary the payoff is to be tragic instead of merely sensational. Now, the short story Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been by Joyce Carol Oates was adapted by the playwright Tom Cole, Joyce Chopra's husband, for instance, and among the contributions Cole and Chopra added to the story was a fleshing out of the family relationships that's between Connie, her parents and her sister. Laura Dern wasn't cast until 2 weeks before filming began. Filming of Smooth Talk took place in Northern California in the cities of Sebastopol and Santa Rosa. Now, the cast of the film consists of Treat Williams as Arnold Friend, Laura Dern as Connie Wyatt, Mary Kay Place as Catherine Wyatt, Margaret Welsh as Laura, Sarah Inglis as Jill, Levin Helm as Harry Wyatt, Elizabeth Berridge as June Wyatt, Jeff Hoyle as Ely, William Ragsdale as Jeff, David Berridge as Eddie, Cab Covey as the pickup driver, Michael French as Stan, Joy Carlin as Laura's mother, Mark McKay as Bobby King, and Carl Muller as the mall boy. The film was given a 4K restoration by the Criterion Collection in September 2020, and it was screened at the New York Film Festival that month to critical acclaim. Goldcrest Films invested £516,000 in the film, and they received £635,000, earning them a profit of £119,000. The film was given a limited release in American theatres and continued to be unreleased on VHS and DVD for years after because of different distributor problems. The Blu-ray was released in February 2022 in the US Criterion Collection, so it's taken over a year to come to the UK. The features on the disc are a new restored 4K digital transfer, supervised by the director Joyce Chopra, and has uncompressed mono soundtrack. Conversation among Chopra, author Joyce Carol Oates, and actor Laura Dern from the 2020 New York Film Festival, moderated by Turner Classic Movies and hosted by Alicia Malone. A new interview with Chopra, new conversations between Chopra and actors Treat Williams and Mary Kay Place, moderated by Malone. New interview with production designer David Wasco. KPFK Pacifica radio interview with Chopra from 1985. Joyce at 34 from 1972, Girls at 12 from 1975, and Chloe and Albie from 1975. That's 3 short films by Chopra. Audio reading of the 1966 Life magazine article The Pied Piper of Tucson, and that inspired the short story written by Oates. Trailers and an essay by the poet and memoirist Honor Moore, and a 1986 New York Times article by Oates about the adaptation, and Oates' 1966 short story Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been? New cover art is based on an original theatrical poster by Vincent Topazio. Winner of the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance, Smooth Talk captures the thrill and terror of adolescent sexual exploration. And if you have patience to wait it out, it transforms the conventions of a standard coming-of-age story into something altogether more troubling and more profound at its denouement. The film is presented in 1:185 aspect ratio and has a running time of 91 minutes, and it arrives in the UK collection on Monday, June the 26th as Spine 1068. And I also wanted to mention before I leave you that I'm planning my first ever live stream where we can talk about this year's releases so far, about the Criterion 4K strategy, UK pricing, and a general discussion on all things Criterion. So that'll be coming up very soon. And shortly after I recorded this release preview, actor Treat Williams sadly passed away at the age of 71. He had a busy film career, starting in 1975 and featuring in films like The Eagle Has Landed, 1976, Hair, 1979, Smooth Talk, 1985, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, 1995, Deep Rising, 1998, The Congressman, 2016, and more recently in 12 Mighty Orphans, as well as many TV shows and TV movies. We are sorry to lose this versatile actor.